What's good? Good morning. Today I want to speak about the psychopathic borderline switching mother archetype. The trauma bonding mechanic. So, the high functioning psychopath is a person with superficial charm, with uncanny stability due to detachment from true emotions and empathy. It's a person that always emerges and occupies the role of the savior in the Cartman's drama triangle, while everybody else is a victim and a perpetrator. If they are pushed to the extreme, they might temporarily also take a victim stance, but they will never ever admit to be orchestrating the chaos that they are thriving on via triangulation in the form of dysfunctional communication. Meaning they manipulate the players in the chessboard against each other, pretending to be friends with everybody, but they are truly only aligned with their own goals and the pawns that make their own goals happen. And they are also detached from an identity core. They don't have an identity core, and they don't have a moral core, which means they are able to do whatever they want and to wear whatever face they want or need in the moment. And they are also able to micromanage different people and relationships with different fake identities, fake faces. Now, this person triangulates people this way to get their goals, and they are unempathetic. And when they're held accountable, they can always hide behind the savior role, the victim role, behind indifference, or behind not being involved in the process that people speak about, or they can deflect the dysfunction onto others. Now, when you are able to expose these patterns, let's say this person is traumatizing their own children by exposing the children to further dark personalities, cluster B personalities, by creating an abandonment trauma through using coercive control and other manipulation tactics to remove the true parent of the children from their home, from their center of living, meaning they create and accept an abandonment trauma of the children just to satisfy their own personal needs that have nothing to do with the children. Meaning they're indifferent towards their own children, all right? And they, of course, also hide behind generalization, moralization, and rationalization, as I always say, and I can repeat it again. So now when you expose this and the children speak out and basically say this is all true, they might face consequences and are threatened to lose access to the children. And the children, they are, a psychopathic mother manages children and represents them in official situations, creating an outside effect of being a caring and very good, capable mother. But behind the facades, they are only managing the children, outsourcing the true dirty work of taking care of the children and being available for them at all times to others. So in other words, the children are neglected with unconditional love and true sacrifice, the true sacrifice of a functioning parent. Yet they have everything they need from the outside perspective, meaning the house is clean and tidy, they get all the food they need, everything looks good and perfect, almost too good. But what they don't get is the real emotional need that they deserve and a constant identity of a parental caretaking figure. Because this psychopathic archetype mother will switch faces when there is an outside audience, when there is the gaze of others. She will show the performative love and care for the children, but when the spotlight is off, she will detach and let others take care of the children, as well as plugging them into entertainment devices, but that are perfectly controlled, so it's not wrongdoing, right? And regulated. So it's like a sterile environment that looks perfect, but the human touch is missing. Now, when you expose this and the children speak out and say all of this is true, they might be threatened with consequences, what they never expected. They thought they get through with this narrative of pursuing their own goals and becoming healers and therapists and, pursuing their own goals by traumatizing their children. So, by the way, I've seen more psychopaths and narcissists. I have seen many psychopaths and narcissists in psychologists and medical doctors. I think there is much more than in average society. And this is this paradoxon, Anyway, now when they are threatened with consequences to this behavior, and it shows in the children's emotional load they carry, then they are threatened to lose power and social status, and cards are removed that are necessary to hold the house of cards together, which is the Narcissistic Family Cult, that is a facility to monopolize goods, services, and is created to serve and cater to the needs of the narcissist and the psychopath. Now, this means they have to act now. And what a psychopath does when they are basically then asked to tap into their emotional world, which is a world that has been 20 years repressed. Everything was repressed. They're detached of that. It's just performative what they do, and everything else is in a dead wasteland. All right, and now they're asked to display emotions, so they switch to a borderline state. The children that have been neglected, and they already knew this performative on-off love, so conditional love, when there is an audience, when there is a gaze, when there is an official thing happening, mother will take very good care for me, idealizes me. But when the spotlight is off, I'm devalued again, I'm not there anymore. I don't matter that much anymore. But now, the children will get overwhelmed with borderline dramatic emotional displays of absolute hyper over idealizing, pampering the child. Also combined with the narcissistic trait of doing this as a public display to create the image. But none of this is real. We see the extremes. The psychopath is extremely detached. There is no emotion, no empathy. It's just performative actions. And the borderliner is over the top emotional outbursts of dysregulated emotional displays. In both situations, the child is overwhelmed with how to respond to this situation, because none of these situations is authentic. It's not authentic to give children this on and off idealization and then devaluation. It's also not normal to give children a hyper amount of dysregulated emotional display, you know, meaning the child is overwhelmed to react to it. It can't react authentically because there is no way to react to that authentically. And this all increases the emotional load and traumatization of the child. The child is forced to exile its true self because the true self can't react to it, and is forced into a reactive state that tries to find a fitting reaction to this crazy display or inhuman display that they're not ready for. And this leads to problems in the child, of course. It creates a childhood wound. We don't know what will happen to children that experience that. Of course, there is a small, slight chance they might become narcissists, but I think only in extreme cases. Professor Sam Vaknin said there is a 5% chance that children in this, officially they say high custody divorce situations, develop narcissism, or in this dysfunctional parenting situations. But they might also become hyper empathetic because they learn to put themselves last and read the energy of everyone to maneuver in this crazy environment. They can become depressive, flee into dream worlds. There's many possibilities that can happen. But I just want to show how this pendulum is of the psychopath, extremely detached, unemotional, and when a psychopath is forced to and threatened in a way they did not expect, they can switch into the borderline state, which is this something very new that you've never seen in 10 years in the behavior. Suddenly, dramatic expressions of emotional availability, which is again fake, of course, and just deepens the confusion and emotional load of the child. All right, thank you for listening. See you in the next video.